Welcome to Between Two Wheels, bringing you decent motorcycle content on a bi-weekly basis. I'm your host, Johnny Roadblock, and with me tonight, the one and only Whit Moto Mom Meza. And no, Ken didn't quit the show. He is still exercising his guaranteed PTO through what's this union? It's the Association of Theatrical Artists Society. I think they referred to as T.A.T.A.S.
Jeez.
This episode is being brought to you in part by Hometown Heroes CBD, our source for that legal zen. And tonight, Miss Whit and I are talking the 2021 Harley-Davidson model year release. Whit, welcome to the virtual studio.
Glad to be on here.
Me too. So we started talking about this, early December, I think. And I was like, okay, I have to have Whit on in January. And I did plan this out to happen right around the Harley release.
Well done. Well done.
That was well planned because I needed a differing perspective. Ken and I typically fly that narrow line of, the same ideas, the same thoughts around the models.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if I brought Dan from Gears and Gadgets on here, it would turn into a massive debate. He will make me look like a complete tool. He's just a lot smarter at that stuff than I am. I just think, okay, this looks cool. That looks stupid. What the hell are they doing with this, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, that's for me. I've just finally, within this last year, got a little bit more invested into lineups and releases and launches and stuff like that as I've started really, truly riding. So I'm on that same page.
My puppy Matra has joined me.
That's perfect.
Oh, great. I love you too, puppy. So we had our very first global launch, release, whatever. And there's a lot of hate on the interwebs about this thing. So I'd like to get your initial thoughts when you saw it. What was those initial feelings that you got when you first saw this?
I think right away, I'm from a marketing background, so I was thinking of it as a live launch. So there was going to be live interactions, some discussion going on. That was kind of my expectation of it. And when I got into everything, I realized it was a YouTube video, which I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, I guess that's fine. We're still getting the information. But for me, I like that engagement part. I like the conversations, the kind of natural back and forth of it all. So that's it was a letdown for me from that side of it. But I guess I still enjoyed what they had provided, but there's so much more questions.
Sure. Now, I went into it thinking it was a live stream as well.
Mm-hmm.
And after watching it, and I've watched it 3 times now.
Yep.
And after watching it, I am so glad they didn't do it live because of the hiccups that I know that they had during just the filming process. And look, us, the consumers, always bitch and complain that Harley only uses high-paid, highfalutin actors to do their stuff. These are real people. They suck at acting, and that kills the message. And it's like in your face. These are not professionals.
No, they're all employees. There's one that I'm very familiar with. She and I are friends, so to speak, too. And so just seeing her on there and getting to see that from a live standpoint, it was kind of fun to know, I guess, that they're relating back to the brand.
Yeah. So to go back and defend Harley, they never said that it was going to be a live event.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I read it. I think it was one of the sign up for the live whatever, but maybe I just misinterpreted it because you had to give your email and your information. So that's where I'm like, oh, I was waiting for something to pop up in my email to give to me to log in to do. And I think I went on their Instagram link, and that's how I was able to jump on and see the video. So I don't know. With the 2020 and how you're used to getting on virtual conferences and stuff like that, that's where I was kind of looking forward to that side.
So I had to watch it off of their website.
Mhm.
I couldn't find it on YouTube directly, and I may have just missed it because I did look on Harley-Davidson's YouTube
They didn't have
channel.
it.
It wasn't there. I still don't think it's there.
It's probably like an unlisted something or another that you have to have.
Yeah. So I can watch the military cells video, which is a full video of it. But so, okay, let's talk about all the conversation around We Ride. You know, Walken was talking about how he rides, and all the other people kind of handed out their resume, if you will, of their experience riding.
Yep.
And again, that came from the consumers. All these suits sitting up in the boardroom, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't even ride. They're not in touch with their consumer base. So we saw that reaction. Do you think anyone actually cared about what was said?
For me, it's great if you do ride or if you don't ride, but I really wanted to dive into like the nitty gritty of the new stuff or whatever it was going to be released. Like, I'd rather go into details of that than know who's who and who these employees are. Yes, it's great to at least get some of the background in it, but when it comes down to it, they're interested in the product, and that's where I'd rather know that. So
the theme that I will say they did an amazing job carrying for the entire 40 minutes. And it was journey and adventure.
and or like back to their roots or something along that line.
Yeah. I wrote it down. Where did I put that? Get back to me. That was what there's a woman on there talking about her experience, and that was my line that I really stood out for me from what she was talking about. Yes, it's all about the journey, because your destination is going back to you, getting back to me.
Exactly.
That was the realest shit said that entire video.
That's Ashmore from Babes Ride Out. She's one of the co-owners of that. So when she came on and her little, I'd say like a mini like commercial almost for it, that was like the highlight for me. So I love that from a marketing side of it, from a relatability side of where I am in my riding experience and where she's at. We're kind of in that same path of motorcycling right now too. So
now, something that I bitch about a lot, and sorry, Cruiser Bro, you're getting pulled in on this one. Cruiser Bro says Indian is the way to go. HD is dead. This came up a lot in the show, if you will. They all talked about fit and finish. And that's the one thing that I will never dog Harley on, because even their lower end bikes, their fit and finish is pristine. Indian needs to steal a few pages out of that book on how to actually go all the way and finish the product.
Yep.
Because if I can stick, a quarter in between your inner and outer fairing on the Challenger, by God, something's not right. Especially when I see Harley and it's smooth. You barely even see the seam. So that's one of the things. They still haven't hit $50,000 for a motorcycle. They're close. They're stupid close. Next year, we will see the $50,000 trike CVO.
Sure.
It's coming.
Ay.
So they talked about the color palette and their head of design, I guess, color design, something like that.
Mhm.
She was talking about it, and then they did a really shitty job of cutting it, and we didn't get to hear about the story behind the color palette. She'd started down, but it's like, okay, it's this color, but she had said a story somewhere, and that would help me understand kind of I like to get in the minds of these creators to understand how their mind works.
Yep.
And when someone's able,
Behind it.
yeah, if someone's able to tell me a story, show me the journey, if you will, we'll stay with the theme. Show me the journey that you took to get there.
That makes it more relatable.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, you have a show called Moto Mom.
Yes.
Is that because you are a mother?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And it's
Moto.
Moto.
In the background, she's still awake yet, so hopefully she'll fall asleep.
And I'm assuming by saying moto, it's because it's motorcycle mom.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're all on the same page. I am not losing my mind officially. And let's talk about a journey that I hear a lot of women riders talk about, or people who would like to ride,
Mhm.
but don't because they are parents. And again, in the public side, we hear about it primarily from women.
Yep.
They have children, maybe even elderly parents that they need to take care of, things like that.
Yep.
Help me and help the audience understand what that journey's like. Because you're a mother of 2 kids?
2, 7 and 2, almost. Yep. So
yeah, please help all of us understand that, so we can show someone else, hey, here's someone you can relate to.
Mm-hmm. So I probably started in the same realm as most. When we were expecting our son, which is our first child, we both shared a bike. It was our first one. It was a Softail Night Train, 06, I think it was. But we had a loan on it. And for our sake, like, we didn't know what to expect as far as expenses go, anything like that. And I'm like, okay, this just makes the most sense if we can just make even on the bike and not have that hanging over our head. We weren't riding it as much. I was pregnant. I definitely wasn't riding it. So we got rid of it. And like within that first year, I regretted it. Like, I was like, shoot, I need a bike. I need something to ride. But it got put off for so long because life happened, and I had another bike in the works with somebody working on it, but it fell through. And 4 years went by, and I was like, dang, I need to get on this now. So we started looking again. I purchased my husband's Fat Boy for him, and then I purchased a Honda CB, because I was going to build it into a cafe style, like brat style racer, whatever. I don't know what. I just had this ambition that I wanted to do it. But then we found out we were pregnant again. So I found a 03 Sportster, which is the one that's sitting in my garage right now, and sold the Honda CB because I just couldn't keep everything in that garage. So I'm like, all right, that just needs to go. But I got the bike, and within 2 months of me riding it, I found out we were expecting our second. So I'm like, well, there goes riding for another full year almost, because 9 months plus some after the fact. But I told myself I wasn't going to let that stop me. For me, I bought the bike outright, so I didn't have anything holding me back as far as money
you didn't
goes.
have it sitting over your head, right?
No. Yeah. Absolutely not. So for me, I was like, all right, once I get back to being 100%, I'm going to ride this. Like, I'm going to ride. And I don't want that to be an excuse or a barrier or anything like that, because you're going to make it work with whatever schedule that you have. Yes, you're going to have to lean on your significant other or family or friends or somebody that's going to be able to watch your kiddos, because you can't just... I would love to have a sidecar with my kids right now. Like, something I wish I could, so I could just cart them around and we could go around the block or something like that. But that's in the works.
So let's pivot.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if my audience knows what you ride. how long you've been riding, because I've been a really poor host because we jumped into the show
totally.
part, and I forgot that I'm supposed to be interviewing you too. So what do you ride?
So I have the '03 Sportster in our garage, and then my husband's currently serving out of country, so I claim his 2002, I think it is, custom build Fat Boy as well. So I have both of those in the garage. But I rode them a handful of times this year, but I rented and rode more different bikes than I actually rode my Sporty this year. So.
And your Instagram profile is chocked full of all
of
the.
different bikes.
I mean, how many demo events did you do in 2020?
It was more rentals than anything.
Really?
So what did I ride first? So I went out to Sturgis and I rode a lowrider, 2019, I think it was. Then I met up with a friend from Instagram. She lended me her 17 Indian Scout Bobber. Then I went down to Vegas, rode a Heritage 2020, I think it was. Then went out to Nashville, rode a Chieftain Indian 2020 Icon, I think, or something like that. Then I did a street glide out in the Smoky Mountains 2020, and then 2020 Challenger here in Wisconsin too. So just kind of worked my way up as far as bikes and engines go.
So you've ridden all the baggers that matter, the Indian, and the 2 Indian baggers, or 3 Indian baggers, I guess.
Yep.
And the 3 Harley baggers, if you will. Which one did you like the most from a comfort perspective?
Honestly, I love the Chieftain. I did like the Challenger, but I could get used to the fixed fairing, but I loved that Chieftain. It was light for me and easy to maneuver versus the Street Glide, because I know those are too comparable. The Street Glide felt just way too front heavy and just heavy bike for me. So.
Yeah. And I like the suspension on the Indians significantly more than the suspension on the Harley.
Yep.
And the seat. Of all shit to talk about.
Hey, that matters. That matters completely.
Well, almost everyone's going to swap out their stock seat at some point. I've actually been carrying with me 5 bikes now, the same seat, the Harley-Davidson Tall Boy. It's because I'm a cheap bastard. I have very expensive habits, so I have to cut costs where I can.
But you've got your butt imprint on it already. You might as well keep it going.
I wish. So my butt is permanently mounted into that, but it's not memory foam. I kind of wish it was.
Right. There you go.
But okay, so you have the two Harleys today. You've ridden pretty much every major family in Harley, and you're up in Wisconsin. Have you taken out any of the Honda Shadows and the Suzuki Boulevards, or any of the sport bikes?
No, I have not. That's something on my list for this year, is to try different brands. Like, I want to try the BMW. I think it's a GS 1200 or something like that. I want to try that, and I want to get my butt on a 2021 Goldwing. Like, I am curious more from a touring side of it than I am on the street and the cruiser side, just because I love more long distance riding, and that's where I kind of gravitate to. So I want to see what's out there as far as those go.
Sure. Yeah. Goldwing is a cloud.
I bet.
You're just floating. It has air conditioning vents. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
I don't think it actually has air conditioning, but it looks like the cheap little Honda plastic vents, like you see in their car. It's hilarious. My plan is to get on to a K1600 from BMW.
Okay. Yep.
I used to be a long haul rider. I honestly can't say I'm really much of anything right now.
Okay.
But I'm right there with you. I want that bike that I can sit down and just go. And by the way, congratulations on the iron butt.
Thank you.
So from the time you started riding motorcycles to the time you did your first iron butt, how many months was that?
So we technically got our license about 8 years ago, but we had our Softail night train for maybe a full year. And I can count on two hands how long I've actually, or how many times I actually rode that bike. So I don't really like say that I've started them, because then I had a 5-6 year hiatus. And because when I bought the Sportster, I had 2 months, and then I had to put it in the garage for so long. So I technically started April of this year. Like that's when I had my full first riding season of this year. That's when I kind of
April 2020.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And and when did you do your iron butt?
June.
3 months, people.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of riding in between there, all, but.
So, what is your appeal for the long haul riding versus maybe canyon carving or whatever? Well, okay, you don't have any canyons up there.
But yeah, we don't have anything like that.
Like all the lake roads and river roads and stuff y'all have up there.
Mm-hmm.
What pulls you towards that long haul riding?
I think it's just being on the bike. Like I just love, and I could sit on and ride for however long that I possibly can. Like if you give me 3 days, I'm going to ride those 3 days if I'm able to do it. So for me, it's just, if I can go out and ride, I'm going to go out and ride. I love going to a destination, but I think it's more of the journey and riding to get there that I enjoy more than getting there.
Damn it, Whit. Journey and adventure. That's our theme.
Yep.
Since everyone in the comments are talking about copying, we are totally going to copy that theme. Okay. So back to the release for 2021. And I have to give props where props are due. I didn't catch it at all until the third time I watched it.
Okay.
Ryan Urlacher from lawabidingbiker.com or whatever, all of his stuff.
Sure.
I trust what he says, but I do verify.
Yep.
Harley-Davidson got rid of hydraulic clutches on all 2021 models.
They said it, they didn't share anything more on it. They mentioned it in like one sentence, and then that was it. So
that how do you take a premium brand, and then degrade it? Now, I understand there's a lot of people who didn't like the hydraulic clutch, but there's no, I don't know. I hate cable clutches. I hate the stretching effect, the fact that you always have to adjust them. And I am hard as hell on my bikes, but I don't have to touch a hydraulic clutch. And, I've had people complain, oh, it's just really rough on my hands. It's like, it means you're not using it enough.
Yep. Simple as that.
I mean, Mike Tracy, she's in the wedding industry, so she works most weekends. So she doesn't get to ride as much as, we would all like to.
Yep.
So when she goes and rides, she's on a, 2018 Road King special hydraulic clutch. And she'll bitch and complain. She's like, God, my arm is sore. I was like, baby, you can go ride more.
Just got to get that out. Yep. So
I know I went through today. I had a 30-minute break between conference calls. I went through Harley's website, 360'd every bike. Gone. All cable clutch, even the CVOs. Cable clutch. Now, how much does it cost to convert from a cable clutch to a hydraulic clutch?
Good question.
Whatever that cost is, plus the Harley tax, that should be taken off the cost of every one of those bikes, because that's horse shit.
No.
I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, you have cable clutch bikes. You've played with the hydraulic clutch bikes.
Yep.
What are your thoughts? Because you did bounce between them. Did you notice a difference?
Not really. From my end of it, I don't know if it's something that I would pay as much attention to, because I am more of the like visual appeal. Like I like the blacked out look more than the chrome look or anything like that. So like, or how the fairing looks or how the bags are. For me, it's like, okay, I get when I look at a touring bike and what I'm going to invest in next, like it doesn't have to be the biggest engine. Yes, I could have it, but for my sake, like I'm not going out drag racing or anything like that. So it's for me, as long as the bike gets me to from point A to point B, fantastic. I don't need to race anybody. But
yeah, you do. Yeah,
I'm not.
you told Amira and Ace and Beans that you're going to come down here and ride with us.
Yes.
I've never ridden with the two of them, but I have ridden a lot with the woman who taught all of them how to be road captains.
Nice.
They're going to be drag racing every time they're on the highway. That's just how it is. In Texas, our highways are very, very straight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nothing like out in Tennessee. When I was out in Tennessee, we lived there for about a year. There is no straight way to get anywhere. Like it's so frustrating that it's going to take me 20, 30 minutes to get somewhere, unless I'm on a bike and I don't have a time crunch to get to. Fine. But yes, I agree from that side of it. Yes.
Okay. So we've touched on journey and adventure. For those just tuning in, that was the theme from Harley-Davidson. And I talked a lot of trash about Momoa. When I first saw him for the first time doing a commercial for Harley, I recanted my statement after seeing the work that he had done for his marketing side of it. I now like him as a Harley spokesman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, he's, a movie star and rich and all that stuff, but he's edgy. He still has that go fuck yourself mentality. I can appreciate that.
Bikes. And all those vintage bikes or old bikes that he's got too. So
yeah, his tiny collection.
Yeah.
It's like what, 50, 60 bikes, something like that?
I don't even know. I don't want to know for that sake, just because it's going to make me like wish I had a bigger garage.
So I do appreciate that, and I am stoked to see what they're going to do for the Pan America launch. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot more. I'm hoping there's a lot more production time and effort put into that, because that is a legitimate launch. There's nothing new in 2021 from what was released. There's no new anything.
Substantial new engine, nothing like that.
Just new paint. And the specials can be bought in chrome, which, okay. Why buy a special at all? I know there's a lot of chromosexuals out there. There's nothing wrong with that. It's 2021, people. We accept all here at Between Two Wheels.
That's awesome.
But on the CVOs, there's a smoked chrome.
Mm-hmm.
That it's with one of their other special colors. It is sexy as fuck.
I love the bronze one and the white. I think they're both CVO ones too, but those two colors, I was like, yes, if I had the money to buy it, sure, let's do that. So
I will say, I don't give a shit about the Rockford Fosgate partnership.
Fair enough.
No, I mean,
I think that's how they got. So I got an email from them. I don't know if you did or anybody else did, but when I signed up to do the live launch or whatever, I instantly got an email about an hour later from them. Nothing from a Harley. So you know where that came from, because I didn't subscribe to them. I didn't do anything from that, but I've got their information now. Or they have mine.
So you go in and you check or uncheck all the defaulted checked items. Okay. We talked about Get Back to Me, the ride, the journey back to me. I want to talk about the Street Bob 114.
Mm-hmm. I want to ride that thing.
I'm going to say it and there's going to be haters out there that are just going to just be pissed. Hit that dislike button now. The Street Bob 114 is probably the best performance Harley Davidson on the market today.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because it's not a CVO. You're not paying the CVO tax. It's light.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the 114 for a very inexpensive upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
You can get that thing stroked out. Go big boy. 120, yep. Right? It handles like a dream. It's lightweight, and its center of gravity is pristine.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the mid controls, which for carving and just cruising hard is actually sense. A better riding position than the wedge shape that we create. You know, when you're all laid out and stretched out, have absolutely no control over your motorcycle.
Uh-huh.
There's that. But damn, I'm really looking at that Street Bob and I'm like, what if I pissed off every one of my fans, traded in the Road Glide Limited?
Oh, gosh.
And then come out with a Street Bob 114.
Hey, if you want to, go for it. That's all I got to say.
Here's the thing. Street Bobs and I don't get along. I've had two try to kill me.
Oh, dang.
Eichenberg, one of my best friends, Justin, he tried to kill me. He rear-ended me. And then my wife, my bestest friend, shortly after we got married too, within like 6 months.
Okay.
She rear-ended me, slashed, kind of T-boned me.
Dang.
Both of them are riding Dyna Street Bobs. Now I know it's a Softail now, or a cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to talk about that too. The streets.
Yep.
The street class has no streets in it anymore. And they had a significant case of shrinkage on the Sportster lineup too.
Nope. It's the 83 or the 1200 and the not Roadster. What's the other one?
I don't know. It's a Sportster.
The three of them. But I think they still are keeping the 500, but only for the riding academy. Like they're not selling it at all. So there's no 500. There's no 750 anymore. So.
I never understood this. No, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't. The street is not a good bike to train on. It's one of those things. You want to have a bike that gives that brand new person enough of the grannies to help them learn. Mm-hmm. The street was top heavy as hell. It was powerful for the engine. It was a powerful motor.
Liquid cooled versus air cooled too, right? I think.
Yes, but please God, you're going to open a can of worms.
Take me back. Rewind.
That was her. I'm not talking shit. I'm not bringing up the difference, even though she's 100% right. More power comes out of liquid cooled. But so fuck. Delta 8 THC from Hometown Heroes. Get your Zen on. Actually, this is one of their new disposables.
Dang.
It's not good for people who daily toke. It's not. But for those who just do it on the weekends, they only need a couple, tokes to get there.
Sure.
It's perfect. You don't do anything with it. You just puff on it until it's gone and you toss it. There's no charging, nothing like that. And they're actually pretty reasonably priced. HometownHeroesCBD.com. Use the code B2W10. Save 10% off your first order. And help out Project Clean Slate. So back to the show, that actually gave me just enough time to get back to where I was at in my notes. Willie G. I'm not a fan of Willie G. I knew him when I worked at Harley. He's a fucking prick to pretty much everyone. His kids aren't much better. And we saw that in the video. You know, they're talking about it doesn't matter. The guy said, for the fat boy, we have the chopped front fender to show off that big, beautiful tire. I don't think I've ever looked at a motorcycle and said, damn, that's a nice tire.
Unless you look at the Breakout, people love the Breakout for that sake too. Or isn't it not the Break? The Breakout has a large back tire too, right? I don't know. For me, it's the overall look to the bike. Like if it looks, I like a blacked out and different matte colored look to it. So if it's a white versus the black, that's what gets me the most. So I'm not the biggest chromed out fan. But yeah.
But and that's what killed me too. He was highlighting this big, beautiful black tire when he's talking about all the chroming they did to the bike and the two massive chunks of aluminum that are just brushed drive me nuts. Why didn't they chrome the wheels? Was it maybe it's a safety hazard?
I don't know. Could be.
You know, riding with your buddies, sun reflects off of that chrome wheel, blinds your friends. Now you have an accident. That could be why. I could see that. I mean, most of the guys who go out and buy the fat boys, they're like 55, 60 years old, been riding for a very long, like month and a half, and they're out there showboating. So I don't know. Maybe they're like, okay, we're going to help these guys out, not blind their friends. So you're into kind of the black, and you're like
stuff that's hard to clean that people complain about. But for me, I'm like, if it's a dirty bike, it's a road bike. So that's what matters to me.
That's what I used to tell everybody. I'm just lazy as hell. I'm not going to wash my bike.
Oh,
it's when I take it in for service, they wash it for me.
Yeah,
it's not a very good wash.
Money for a new tire or oil change or anything like that. Thank you for washing my bike for me. My husband might do it. So yeah.
One of the other things you have to go search the website for. Mm-hmm. Some of the new parts and accessories coming out. I have to admit, I like them.
Okay. I haven't seen them yet. That's something I haven't dug into. I've just dug into the models part of it. So what's new or what do you like?
Air conditioned seat.
That would have came in handy this summer and down in Vegas. 110 degree weather, 12 degree weather.
From hell. Yeah.
In a leather jacket too. I was not prepared for riding in that kind of heat. So that would have been nice.
That's when you just sleep during the day and ride at night. Then the leather jacket comes in handy.
Oh, I did. I rode from 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, all the way up until 1, 2 o'clock a.m. the next day. Like, that's how long I rode for. So riding in the canyons, though, at night are pretty chilly once that sun goes down now. So.
Oh, it's the best time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you had an opportunity. I don't know. Do you watch Biking Bird at all? Mm-hmm. It's okay if you don't.
I've seen some. Like, I'm just getting familiar with everybody that's around here.
All the different YouTubers. Mm-hmm. We did a Big Bend trip. Oh, cool. So it's out West Texas, right on the border. And he was taking us out there. And we went from, like a balmy 90s here in San Antonio in the morning. When we get out there, the sun drops in the desert, and now it's 40. Talking about some unprepared riders.
Yep. That was
oh yeah.
I was there. That is the middle of August, and Death Valley. I wanted to ride Death Valley and into the Grand Canyon too, but they had the highest temperature on record. It was like 122 degrees or something like that. So I'm kind of glad I did not even attempt anything.
It's like I tell my wife, it's a dry heat.
Yeah. Well, Sure. I had to be geared up. Like, that's what I had signed up for. So I had to have my only leather jacket on and my gloves, everything else that went along with it. So unfortunately, yeah.
Okay.
Well prepared.
Sorry.
Good.
Okay. Now, I call these the anti-shade tree questions.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and fit them in now because I don't want to forget them.
Sure.
What is the one piece of gear you never go riding without, or you try to never go ride without?
Jacket.
Jacket. Okay.
Mhm.
Any
And a
kind of
helmet.
jacket?
Well, I only had up until this last month my leather jacket. So, I take that back. It would be my full face helmet. That's one thing that I won't budge on is a helmet. So,
Okay. We have some people comment. Oh, it's Toby.
oh, Toby that's insane.
Well, no, it's not. It says HD on it.
I could buy a whole nother bike for that price. Like, that's where I kind of draw the line. If I can buy another used bike or some other 2 wheels, like, I could get my kid a decent ass dirt bike for that price, or keep my butt cold or warm. I'm probably gonna go the dirt bike route.
So just wait about 3 months, 4 months. Everyone, all the seat makers will have it because, and all they had to do is wait for Harley to get all the right plugs in place. Let Harley do all of that shit for them so they don't have to build a harness.
I know that. I don't know if this is new for Harley, but I don't know if you follow Salty or the Sprinkles and Salty, I think it is. But I think she on her Scout Bobber has a seat like this too. So I don't know if it's an off-brand or whatnot, but there's probably something out there. Yeah, it probably is after. So,
but I think Indian did have something like a massaging seat or something.
Doesn't BMW have something like that though already? Maybe.
I know. I think they do have the heated and vented seat as well.
They had all the fancy little.
Well, it's BMW. They kind of have to.
Yeah, you have to.
But how does BMW have a whole bunch of really cool stuff? And if you platinumize the K1600B out, it's like 26 grand. And it has everything that you could ever want. A whole bunch of shit you didn't know that you wanted until you go and ride the damn thing.
A cup holder too? Because that's always something that I got to put.
No.
Who knows? Something I haven't ventured into, but I'm curious.
How is it that they can do that for 26?
Mm-hmm.
And Harley gives me a limited.
Barely.
And it's limited compared to the BMW. Don't get me wrong. And I know everyone on here thinks I just hate Harley. I don't. But there's a standard. Harley claims to be a premium brand. BMW's a proven premium brand. And they're not raking us over the coals.
No. On
their motorcycle. Now, their gear is FU expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know who makes it. Maybe,
I don't know either.
Maybe it's like the German Dainese or something. I don't know. But I'm just, I don't know. I look at what Harley's been putting out there, and look, Harley didn't make this seat. Harley doesn't make any of their accessories. They're all made by a manufacturer and then rebranded
to them.
So
kind of like the cheese company up here. Like, everything comes from one plant, but it's just put a different sticker on it. And
yeah, that one cow is going, popping milk for 20 brands. Poor heifer. But yeah, look, people who talk shit about all of the Chinesium products coming over to America, that's where all these products are coming from that Harley's selling. So let's not get shit twisted.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a higher quality knockoff from China for half the price, but Do you trust a knockoff when it's a heating element and all that stuff right between your legs?
That's up to you to decide.
Yeah, if I go for ventilated and it turns on max blast heat on the boys, I'm not going to be too happy about that. I will have
You're going
issues.
full style adventure then, and butts off the seat, and you're going.
Yeah, exactly. So, I honestly, I don't need a ventilated seat. I think it's cool. I do think it's a cool idea, especially for trikes. I think it's beneficial for trike riders because they don't have the same amount of airflow that we do on two wheels.
Yep.
So I think it's a great product for that. And I think it may actually come on the CVO trike. I'm not 100%, but I believe I saw it on there. But for us, if we need to cool the inner thighs out, we just stick our legs up. The air goes into them jeans. Now I know for me, I don't wear skinny jeans.
Yeah.
Not by choice. And so the air does have the opportunity to flow in there and, defunctify stuff a little bit.
There you go.
So I don't know if I could ever really need that type of seat. But I mean, y'all are in the same boat. I see my wife, she'll be cruising. She'll just kind of kick out a leg. Oh, check this out. Get some airflow going.
When I learned my lesson on my iron butt, like depending on how I had my legs shifted, it brought up the wind and like pretty much puffed out like I was the Michelin man with my jacket. But like it just felt amazing for my sake. So you kind of learn those things depending on what bike you have and what works. So, yeah.
So do you ride with a windshield on your bike like all the time, or do you ride shieldless? If you will?
For the most part, I forget that if I take it off for some purposes, more for like pictures or anything like that, I'll take it off because I have a bad habit of not cleaning it when I need to. So I'll take it off and forget about it. If I'm going maybe like a 10 or 15 minute ride down to work or whatever, it doesn't bother me. But I like to do a lot of the rustic roads around here in Wisconsin. And I've done all the ones that are central, but I need to venture out, which takes me about an hour or two to get to those roads. So I'll put the windshield on for sure, especially with that sporty. So
yeah, I when I was in the Middle East, never had a windshield. When I was in Europe, never had a windshield. Sure. I get to Texas and I join up with a hog chapter like, oh, you need a windshield, change your life. Fucking legit. Windshield is everything.
Yep.
But when you take that windshield off after you've been riding with it for a long time, it is so amazing.
Yep.
And I don't know. When I rode my Softail and the Road King, I had 20-inch apes on the Softail, 18-inch apes on the Road King.
We got 22 on our Fat Boy, so they're high.
When I took that windshield off, I was like a big wind sail. I mean, my gas mileage went from 10 to like 5.
Yeah.
But it was a different feeling.
I think for me, it's just fatigue. Like if I'm going to do longer distances, I don't want to have to keep fighting the wind because I might be taking more interstate or highways that I'm pushing my sporty to the higher mileage or miles per hour range that would be nice to have something to help me with. So, yeah.
So how long have you been married? I have to get this out.
It'll be 10 years in August.
Okay. So you've been married long enough that you might be able to get away with this.
Oh,
so hubby is on deployment.
Technically, yep.
He's on deployment.
Well, it's more of an order. It's not not a deployment order. So
he's away from home.
Yes. Yep.
So when he was to return home to a brand new fill in the blank, because you took both of the other bikes and traded them in.
We have talked about this.
What would that bike be?
So I want a touring style, but I don't want to get rid of my sporty because I don't know. Can go back to the models and just like what the future holds for that Sportster brand. I have a 100th anniversary edition. So for me, it's more of a collector's item. And I want our kids to ride something if they're interested in it. I want to hold on to that. And I just like it to bebop around. And I'm forced to ride it long distances right now, but I want a touring style. For me, I still need to try out some other brands to see what I really truly like, but he will most likely have a street glide at some point. More field artillery look, so black and red, something along that lines. He loves that. He's okay with chrome, so that most likely will be in the garage, but I think I'm going to have my touring bike before he has his touring style, so... Yeah, I don't know exactly what I want to get yet, but
so my Dun Life throwing some love out there as fellow hard mount sporty rider. I commend that you did the iron butt on it.
I didn't even think twice about it. And then once I wrote all those touring styles, I was like, what in the world was I thinking? But then at the same time, if you told me I could do it again somewhere down warm right now, if I could go down to Texas or Florida and say your bike's there, go ride 1,000 miles, I'd be like, done. I'm going to go do it. Just because it's there and I have the chance to ride it. But I got really spoiled with those touring styles that it's so hard to go back. Like, I love the dash. I love the technology. I love to see what degrees I'm in, or heck, like how many miles I have left in my tank would be fantastic. So yeah, spoiled in that sense.
I'm like, that's all normal. What are you talking about? Wait, no, it's not.
I have hit like my reserve. I've got to the point where I just ran out of gas too many times that I haven't paid attention to my mileage, that I had to use that reserve, find a gas station, and barely make it there. So
see, our group of friends, we kind of call ourselves the OGs. That's our clique. In the OGs, we call that pulling a Team Bradley when you just run out of gas.
I get so confused. I was like, why is my bike? Oh, dang it all. Like, yes.
So, I mean, look, we have our chromosexual in our group. His name is Hasso. Said Hasso, one of the best dudes around. Here's what's great. We talk about you doing an iron butt 3-ish months after really coming back to riding on a Sportster.
Yep.
And the majority of my friends, and I only have like 5, but I think of my friends, Hasso is the only one, well, and my wife, but she's done a few of them. We're the only ones that would do them on full-blown lazy boy. We all have road glide limiteds, except for Hasso. He's got a street glide.
Okay.
But what the hell, guys? It's 1,000 miles. We live in Texas. We can do all of it without leaving.
Without leaving the state, you can do that.
And I told him, I was like, we just need to get on I-10
and just
go up to El Paso, turn around, and come back.
Yep.
I was like,
find a barbecue joint and just hang out for 20 minutes or whatever it takes you to do it and come back. So
I'm just like, guys, the posted speed limit's 80. They're not going to mess with a couple of Harley riders doing 110.
Oh, God. But you have to make sure like your fuel mileage is at least like somewhere in that range. I don't know how.
So I-10 is the shipping corridor.
Okay.
So everything going from west to east or vice versa has to go on 10, especially if it's going like Southern California or coming out of Mexico going to anything. Yep. So there's plenty of fuel stops for the majority of that trip.
Then you're good.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. If we can do it through Dallas and go all the way from, the far east side of Dallas, all the way through that and Fort Worth, all the way out to Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Yep.
And then turn around and come back. Come on. And Tracy did that on a Softail.
Good work.
So, and that was the 15, or she didn't. That one, she didn't complete the 1500. Her bike broke down, and she limped it into Las Cruces. But
Oh.
but she had to sit behind me on my road glide all the way out there, and then get on her bike and ride back.
God.
Now, I don't, not going too personal, but think of it as when, a woman is having a baby naturally, non-cesarean, feet all up in the stirrups, all up like that's what Tracy was like on my bike.
My God, that's not comfortable.
For 10 hours.
I give her credit.
So
any of those people that ride just passengers, like, I don't know if you know Blacktop Devil, but like watching Heather do that, like, I commend just anybody that decides to just be a passenger from that state.
The Ornery one's wife, the Ornery Squaw.
Yep.
She's a trooper.
She is.
I mean,
she is.
Talk as much trash about people who ride passenger. She's got more miles than half of us combined.
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
As a passenger, and she's running a business while being a passenger.
That's awesome. It says something for those type of people. Like, yes, they don't want to be the rider, but they still enjoy the lifestyle and riding, and so that's one way to go about it. Heck yes, like, enjoy it. It's awesome.
And with her, she would be a rider. It's a medical thing that she can't.
Okay.
So that's just awesome. But yeah, passengers are just as important as the riders. And people ask, they give me shit for saying that. I was like, here's the thing. If there's a passenger on the back of a motorcycle, that's one less driver in a car. Just saying.
Yep.
So,
I love it.
I think about things differently. I do risk management for a living. So I'm always thinking about the gray areas. It's not black and white. It's all gray. But yeah, it's just crazy though. Going back to the virtual show, I will say I am very proud of Harley for this being their first real one.
Because they've just done like dealer shows, like they've had dealers come together and shown it out that way. So
yeah, it's always been in person, and it's not going global.
True.
So I do commend them. And look, we're so used to seeing the big Apple events and events like CES being live streamed. That's not Harley. This was their first one, and I'm going to say I'm glad they recorded it and did it that way instead of trying to do a live stream. I know how difficult doing a live stream is, and I've done over 100 of them now. It's still difficult. This would be their first one to millions of people.
They can go all out, and there could be backlash for it, or you can at least control what you can provide and go from there. So
here I'm only worried about 20 or so people seeing me live screwing up. So we're good, and most of these people are my friends. I'm okay with that. But I'm going to say it. I think they did a good job. I wish they would stop talking about all the bullshit stories. I know there's a big stink that, they weren't actors, but they are actors because they have YouTube channels and podcasts and stuff. I'm like, guys, we are normal people who have podcasts or do live streams and things like that. We're not movie stars. I don't know about you. Sure. I'm not making millions of dollars off of YouTube.
I do it for the pure enjoyment factor of it all. But I know, like, anybody that has shared like about the actual bikes were employees or somehow connected to the brand and working for the brand. So like, I appreciate that side of it. That's a little bit more relatable and brings it back. The commercials were more of the influencers, those brand ambassadors. What got me is like, what the most intrigued I was way towards the end of the the video, like sharing a little bit more of the Pan America. Like I thought we were going to get something out of it, and then to find out, oh, sorry, you got to wait for another full month to hear any kind of details. And then just the little bits and pieces that they shared as far as the other brand ambassadors and like what's coming, like the revival or whatever it is that they shared, that emblem. Yeah, like I don't know, but
I purposely held the enthusiast away, but since you brought it up, we'll talk about it. Everything is pointing to, well, one of two directions they can go with the enthusiast. Now, in previous episodes, I've talked about how Harley needs to have their version of Scion.
Okay.
They need to have something that appeals to younger riders.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw the Bronx get ripped out.
Yep. Street Fighter. Is that
it's a Street Fighter.
Okay.
So they pulled that out of the coming soon, and now they have a new brand.
Custom.
I heard them say our new brand enthusiast.
Mm.
I am wondering if they are going after or converting a portion of their bikes into that younger brand audience,
sure.
The enthusiast audience, not the hardcore biker, put a 3-patch on my back type of people, or the mile pounders like Whit Meza out there just kicking ass. It's for those people who want to look cool, have the IG photos going, and still have some enjoyment around town.
Mm-hmm.
Just the casual enthusiast. They could drop a Street Fighter in that brand and get away with it. Whereas if they dropped a Street Fighter into, say, Harley-Davidson, all the naysayers are going to just shit all over it, and it won't get any traction. So I'm hoping this is the direction they're going, is enthusiast is going to be their risk brand.
Okay.
This is our test bed. Let's see what happens. Because again, they can get away with it there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the enthusiasts. It's not for you bikers.
Yeah.
It's for the enthusiasts. Let them have their fun and still enjoy the Harley brand. But it's for them. It still carries the Harley moniker.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a Buell.
Sorry, I had mentioned that, I think.
Yeah, and I think people do that to see if I get triggered. No.
They know when to play. That's awesome.
Oh, they know my buttons. But yeah, I'm hoping that's the direction they go. Is give the enthusiasts something to play with, something to introduce them, give them that little flavor of Harley-Davidson, but in something that they would enjoy. They could see themselves riding with their super skinny jeans that come to their ankle, and they're wearing their ankle high boots and their cafe racer vests.
Sure.
Give them something they can ride, something that they can have fun in and still be part of the Harley community. The other direction is the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the true geezer glides are going to go. Put all of the, your base model, Road King, Road Glide, Street Glide, Electric Glide, sprinkle in some of the other models, maybe a big boy Sportster and a couple of the Softails. And then that's going to leave room for them to clean out everything else and start bringing in
everything,
the other brands or the other bikes. But I just think that's a lot harder to do and pull off than just creating another brand over here and dumping stuff into it that you haven't tried yet.
For sure. I mean, I'm just impatient. Like, I want to know what's next. I want to be able to ride it. Like, I got a chance to ride the Live Wire this summer, and it was an absolute blast. Like, I I enjoyed it, but there's so much more that there's like you're just seeing a little piece of it, but I want more.
One of the things that stuck out when he was talking about the Pan America is they are reimagining the adventure touring family.
Okay.
And it's like, are they trying to say that we're taking the adventure touring segment and just, putting the Harley spin on it?
Mm-hmm.
Or is the Pan America going to have something that we're not expecting?
Yeah.
Because in all the videos, they're running full knobbies and they're out in the Serengeti, which is super cool. But that's never going to be a daily driver here in Texas, unless they live out in King Ranch or something. Sure. But I'm curious what they have up their sleeve for that. Because, I mean, the Pan America is the first launch of a brand new platform for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that platform's already slated to go into 3 models. So I'm excited because, again, it's a 1250. It's a little tiny baby motor that's going to be
perfect for me.
It's going to be powerful as hell.
Mm-hmm.
The horsepower is going to be in the hundreds. Torque's going to probably be in the high 80s, low 90s. It's going to be a rev bombing machine. I want to see what they're doing. I probably would never go ADV touring other than maybe like that once in a lifetime trip type of thing.
Sure.
Let me go check it off the bucket list. But I'm just curious because I think this is something that Harley's finally innovating, and they're letting their creative juices flow. I'm hoping this is going to kick off a beautiful snowball effect of just awesome machines coming out that people look at it and say, "Damn, that's a Harley." That's my hope.
If I have any price point to buy it and it could sit in my garage along with all the other ones, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But
I think Harley-Davidson's magic number, what's the sweet spot for the consumer that they could probably sell all day long to? $14,599.
Sure.
That's the magic number for them, because even a fresh college graduate with debt can still afford that. You're looking at $150 a month on a 7-year note.
Mm-hmm.
They could still have the lifestyle for a low cost. Okay.
If they want to play that game, if they want to jump into it that way, that's the hard part for me to get under. So.
Exactly. But that's a Street Bob 114.
Mm-hmm.
We've said it before.
I want the fairing. I want the dash. I want everything that comes with that. So for me, that doesn't I get it because it's going to be a powerful bike and something to ride around with. But for my lifestyle, it doesn't quite.
But you're also not the demographic for it.
Exactly.
You're not a new rider.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes, but I've grown exponentially within the last how many months, and I'm
looking
at a touring style bike already. So yeah, I guess so.
Right. So when I think about that, and we said this way before when we were still doing the podcast regular. Well, let's be honest. When we were still doing the podcast, we all said, Justin, Ken, and I, we all said the Street Bob is the perfect beginner bike. It has exponential growth possibility. It allows you to still be new. Mm-hmm. It's forgiving. Has a low center of gravity. It has the mini apes. It gets you up. It gets you used to being visually scanning because now your hands are right here. You can see what you're doing a little bit better. Get used to riding a bigger bike. It's the perfect beginner bike.
For some, though. For some, it might be super intimidating. For me, I didn't even want to ride my husband's Fat Boy until this April when he's like, we had this bike for a year now and you've never rode it. I was like, yes, because it intimidates the hell out of me. So for those individuals that look for those 300, 500cc bikes, then they look at that Fat Bob or anything larger and be like, nope, that's not going to work for me.
And see, that says something perfect. That brings it up. That is Harley, Indian, and even the metric brands. It's their fault that is the misconception out there, that this 1500cc motorcycle is going to blow you away. You're going to have to hold on for dear life, and it's going to wheelie, flip you over backwards, right? No, it's, if you compare a 500cc motorcycle that weighs 350 pounds to a 1500 pound or a 1500cc motorcycle that weighs 600 pounds, and it's a completely different style motor, that's the problem. They see sport bikes, because sport bikes are, all you hear is how many cc's they are. And then they try to correlate, oh, I do wheelies with 700 cc's or more. And guys, I weigh a lot. Okay, don't judge. So I'm at that point. Well, this bike is double that size. How do I control that thing? You don't know that it's a torque bike. It's not a high horsepower, high revving, you're going to lift your shit up and go.
Yep.
It's a cruiser. So, and I think that's some other marketing issues and just general consumer education. We all think that the big CCs is all powerful, but we all know that 1000cc Gixxer is going to clean the floor with me on my road glide. I mean, I'm in like third gear, and he's now hitting second, still with one wheel in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, completely different, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But again, that Street Bob, it's, if they marketed it correctly, if they help to dispel the intimidation, and you're not the only one who said that. People are legitimately scared of Harleys because they think they're heavy bikes and they all have big motors.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's not what you think. Heavy bike or not, you have 3 gyros keeping you up. You just have to balance it by putting your foot down. That's all you.
I think it's more of a mental thing than anything. For me, like, having a larger tank like that Fat Boy, that's what intimidated me the most. Like, at least with the Sportster, I was like, okay, I can like at least not somehow maneuver it, but it's still top heavy. I didn't realize that until I sat on some of these touring bikes, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I just have to keep my ass in the seat, and it's way better to do anything like that. But it's just, you gotta, for me, it's learning it and actually riding these bikes and testing out each one. Like, I wish I would have done my homework when I first got my license and tried every single bike that I could. Like, that's what I wish I would have done, because then I would have understood, like, okay, maybe I don't like a sport bike, or maybe I do like a cruiser style more than an adventure or touring. But I didn't have that mentality until I was like, okay, I can try bigger bikes. I can do these, I can ride these bikes. It's just getting over that fact mentally that they're all the same, pretty much.
So if we're looking at things like getting your butt in the seat, trying any bike, if you could have any bike, money didn't matter. It was going to be free no matter what it was. What bike?
I don't know yet. I know it's touring style though, because I want to do the 78 states in 10 days challenge this year, and I know I'm not doing it on my sporty. Like, that's not going to happen.
78 states.
No, 78, 48 states in 10 days challenge. So through the iron butt, you ride all the lower 48 states in 10 days. Sorry, I misspoke. But like that.
I was like, wait, where do we get these other states? I mean, I know we claim Canada.
Yeah, no, it's 48 states.
Okay.
You can't do, like, I could do Alaska, but with the border closed and everything else like that. Like I want that touring style. But for me, do I know which one? I have a look that I want that I would love to have, but as far as like brand goes, I want something that's like dashboard wise, technologically wise, user friendly for me, and something that I can just cruise and do 200 some odd miles on a gas tank compared to 100 miles on my sporty. So for me, I don't know quite yet. I'm leaning towards like an Indian Chieftain just because I've rode it, but there's so many different bikes that I still want to try out before I commit to that. And I can't say because I haven't rode them. And it's not to say like I just want to do a demo and go a block and come back and be like, yep, that's the bike. I want to do 200, 300 miles on a bike and be like, all right, I really like this one more. So
there you go, Indian. You have someone up in Wisconsin. They're up in your neck of the woods.
Yep.
Who could
But I
create
haven't rode the road glide yet, so I don't know like what that is, or I haven't rode the Honda Goldwing or anything.
I'm trying to pimp you out, Whit. Come on.
Thank you. I mean, I'll take it. Like I would love it.
I have a friend of mine who works in the sales network within Polaris.
Okay.
And he watches the live stream occasionally. And he seems to only watch when I'm talking trash about Indian. And I was like, dude, I have more friends that work at Harley. I'm sorry, you're outnumbered.
Persuade. But no, I enjoyed it. I rode as an Icon Series one, so like the 30 grand whatever bike. It was nice.
And that was a Chieftain.
That was a Chieftain. Yep.
Was it a Dark Horse Chieftain?
Mm-hmm.
See, I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
I do. And I'll tell you, I like that stupid motorized windshield.
I know. There's all the muscle. I didn't think I would until when we rode. So my husband was riding the Chieftain and I rode the Challenger too. But getting on the highway, I was like, this is fantastic. But I couldn't feel any wind at all. Like I couldn't even cool down. But just being able to lower and raise the windshield when I wanted to, it was a nice touch. So.
Yeah. What's the one that's the Road King knockoff? The Springfield?
I think it is. Yes.
That thing was such a dream to ride.
People love that one.
It was like the Springfield Dark Horse special, whatever the hell. It had ape hangers on it from the factory, no windshield, and I just cracked the shield on my lid and just cruise and just
you're good.
Power. And that one, there's no hard seams, so the fit and finish looks really good on that bike. It's just all of their fairing bikes. I'm not a fan of just because of the gap. It's about the gap.
There's things that I would switch just to make it feel more me, but I think that's the route I would go, at least for the experience that I've had so far. But yeah, I've really enjoyed, even though I think they are very weight comparison, the Street Glide to the Chieftain, I think they're very similar, but just when you ride it and like maneuvering it, it feels so much lighter for my sake. So that's what it raises my confidence a little bit more, going, if I drop this thing, maybe I'm able to pick it up easier than if I dropped a Street Glide. So.
Sure. Yeah, I know when the guys and I rode, we did that comparison. Okay, how does this feel compared to? And I think all of us were pretty much on the same page with, we like the Indian for these 5 things. We hate the Indian for these 5 things.
Yep.
But then when we go and look at what Harley had, these 5 things we loved were the 5 things missing from over here. So we did that comparison, and even on paper, they're about the same.
Yep.
So I like that. It really comes down to which features matter more to you, or which look matters more to you, because there are subtle differences. I'll be honest, the Indian has started to grow on me a little bit. Just the the Batwing fairing looks very Transformer-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, for me, it's outdated. I know, but yeah, but that's not my style. I'm more of a fixed fairing type
Okay.
of guy. So that's why I'm looking at the BMW, because that's the only one that I know is significantly better. But like you were saying that, in essence, the infotainment center
Yeah.
needs to be good, and the BMW's infotainment is lacking.
Okay.
Like they don't have Apple CarPlay or Google, whatever the hell. They don't have any of that, which I really do like
Yes.
on my Road Glide.
Mm-hmm.
So there are those creature comforts. And for all the people in the comments who are going to be saying, oh, you don't need that if you're a real biker. I'm not a real damn biker. I ride. That's it. I ride, and I don't do enough of that.
Yep. They have the things they love. They have the things they're obsessed with. For me, it's like if I'm going to tour and I want to find like a location and I don't have to pull up my phone and plug it in that way, I can just deliberately go in and search, and I can play music instead of having to have my Senna on or anything like that.
Yep.
Anything like that. So I don't know. You can't appease everybody, and everybody's going to have their own style of bike. It's just taking whatever you think fits best for you and make it into your own. So
yeah,
you can get close with one brand or another.
Every channel has a Toby.
Oh man.
Oh, by the way, I'm calling you out, Toby. You were in Austin. You never hit me up saying, hey, come hang out. I would have driven up there. No, nothing. Anyways. So the last question of the Shade Tree 3. I just came up with that. I like that.
That's nice.
Yeah, number 3.
Appreciate that.
What is the number one bucket list ride today for you?
It would be that 48 states in 10 days challenge for sure. But I would love to ride Highway 1. Like if I'm not technically able to go overseas, so I haven't even dove into anything that's available from that side of it yet. But it would be like to say that I've reached and drove in every single state. It doesn't mean like I'm going to the top place to go to, but I've ridden all across the country. Like that's something fantastic to say that at least I've done that. I would love to ride Highway 1 up through in California. There's parts of Utah that I didn't get a chance to do that I would love. Through my 48 states in 10 days challenge, I'm going to do Lolo Pass too. So like that's a must on my list when I do it. So that's one of the kind of highlights that I'm going to go out of my way mileage wise just to be able to do in time wise. So yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah. I'm working on a plan for a trip to Moab.
Oh, cool.
Because I want to go ride side-by-sides out there.
Mm.
I've been watching a whole lot of Ken Block lately, and I know I shouldn't because it's just going to make me spend money.
Too. Yep.
But damn.
It looks so fun.
Well, I bought a new truck.
Okay.
And because my wife and I are planning on getting an RV.
Mm-hmm.
And I do trailer quite a bit. Pretty much if I'm leaving the state of Texas, or if it's going to be more than like 12 hours,
sure,
I'm going to trailer.
Yeah.
And, Tracy and I were extremely comfortable riding the entire day the next day while those punks
had to recoup. Yep. It's all endurance part of it. So if you enjoy the ride more than you enjoyed riding at the location that you're at, then hey, that's the way to go. But to each his own.
Yeah. But it's just get the trailer, be able to, because we're going to get a toy hauler.
Nice.
So that we can go put a side-by-side in there. Or, we have a big trip going out to the East Coast. Well, now it's 2021. So this year, this October. So I'm not riding all the way the hell out there because it's all highway. It's all boring for me.
Yep.
Especially when I'm going to be out there near a certain tail and certain ridge parkways. You know, we're going to be riding the shit out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be fully refreshed and ready to go when my trailer is unloaded and my Harleys come out. But I'm just saying, something like that, that's I want to do Moab. It's just so gorgeous out there.
It looks fantastic.
But you know, I appreciate all your time. We are at an hour and 25 minutes.
Holy crap, that went really fast.
So I want to give you an opportunity to do any shout outs. You have a shitload of fans. So, you know, if any shout outs, if you have any sponsors you need to shout out to, please go ahead.
Which I need to if anybody is interested. But I have Instagram and a YouTube account. For me, it's more promoting the female riders and those mothers and parents that are riders. For me, I set up a live stream doing the Moto Mom live, and we kind of touched on it, but I'm showcasing these incredible women who are doing fantastic things all throughout the motorcycling community, whether that's racing, long-term and long distance endurance riding, all the way up to like stunt riding, everything like that. I've got a handful of individuals picked out at least for this year that I just want to bring to the forefront. It's for my sake. I enjoy some moto vlogging, my experiences all throughout the country, and different highlights like Sturgis and Zion and the Dragon, things like that. But yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, Badgers were on here too. So
yeah, so Toby brought it up. Thank you for reminding me, good sir.
Mm-hmm.
The world record poker run, running from July 30th through August 6th, running from Florida to Sturgis.
Yeah.
Be sure to check it out. Go into the Google, type in the Google box, World Record Poker Run 2021.
They're setting the record this year for it too, which is kind of cool. So yeah, if I can do it, I'm going to try to, but that takes some planning on my part.
my new job, they don't give us PTO. They give us this thing called recharge.
Okay.
So if I want to take a week off, I can just take a week off if I have all my bases covered. But it's kind of a cool thing because, you know, this is long enough planning. I might be able to get it taken care of.
Sure.
And, you know, Florida in late July, early August, that's the best time to be there. Yeah. Sweaty balls. Just saying. Just saying. Now, the route announcement is going to be this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Badgers YouTube channel. Check them out. There's a lot of really awesomeness happening with this poker run. It's more than just a little certificate. There's a lot going on, a lot about vets being supported. That's what we do at Between Two Wheels. Please check it out. Do what you can. Support this cause. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, Miss Whit, thank you again. I don't think I could do the show without a good, strong co-host. Thank you.
Hopefully I was beneficial to you for that.
Well, Ken might fire me now and just have you come on.
Sign me up for the next one. All right. Let me know when.
And then when he takes his next union, you know, the T.A.T.A.S union break, I'll just come back in and fill in for him or something. I don't know.
Absolutely. I'd be glad to.
But thanks again, everyone in the chat. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us this evening and sticking around this long. Holy crap. We appreciate y'all. Y'all make it possible for us to do this. And y'all being our audience is why we do this. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful rest of your week.